whole mask thing, really, all right, it's a time in hip hop where things, from my point of view, started going more to what things look like opposed to what things sound like. Once it started getting more publicized and it started being hip hop started being more of a money making thing, then you get these corporate ideas where you want to put what it looks like to sell what it sounds like. We dealing with music, so what I did was I said, all right, look, I'm gonna come with the angle of it don't matter what I look like, it don't matter what the artists look like, it's more what the artists sound like. So the mask really represents the whole, like, to rebel against the trying to sell the product as a human being, you know what I mean? It's more of a sound, so
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, for you.
Yeah, well, whatever. You know what I mean.
Doing? Yeah, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
I'm doing good. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Same to you. You guys got through the New Year celebrations okay, I take it?
Yes,
yeah,
we did.
we didn't really have much going on.
Well, that makes me happy as your father. Let's see. Anything? I have just a general question, like the typical. Anything? So it's bye to 2020. Happy holidays to everybody. Sorry we missed last week. It was good to take some time off.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Any highlights or anything like you want to tack to the wall for 2020? Something that's a year from now will look, way more important than you thought, or do you think less important than it does right now?
Just kind of in general, huh?
Yeah, whatever you want. I mean, if you don't, I'm just trying to stir things up a little.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know that I have a specific. Like, the thing is, I think most of the stuff that we talked about will continue to be important. At least the actual serious stuff.
Yeah, there's nothing magical about January 1st, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think the cyber attack thing may grow more important over time. It hasn't really stayed in the front of the news for obvious reasons, but it seems like this long, slow burn that could be, problematic.
Yeah. I need to actually look into that more. I remember, I obviously remember talking about it. I just, like you say, it hasn't been kind of front and center. But yeah, I mean, the way you described it does seem like it is kind of crossing into new territory.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a piece in the New York Times this morning, or maybe I guess it'd be this morning your time anyways, and they're saying something like 18,000 different agencies and businesses. I think I have that right. I kind of cruise through it, have been affected. And it seems like the news just kind of goes one way. It's not like, oh, well, we overestimated the effect. So I think that could be a lingering thing. Billy,
well, yeah.
I saw on your Twitter feed that you'd done a tribute to a rapper.
Yeah.
It got like so far it's got like 17,000 likes and a few thousand retweets. Tell me about MF Doom.
Yeah. He's just a really creative artist that I listen to. I know Bobby listened to.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in early high school for me, middle school. But yeah, I mean, he was just a really creative artist, really, creative instrumentals. And I don't know, he was just very different. And there was like, I don't know, he was very kind of pulled back and kind of withdrawn. And so everybody was kind of like, eager to hear things from him, especially as he kind of stopped releasing things as regularly. And I think he was kind of, I think there was some kind of immigration stuff. I think he was born in Great Britain or England. And then as like a baby, he was brought over illegally. And so when he went on like a European trip or something, he got stuck in London. They wouldn't let him back in the country. So that pretty much threw a wrench in everything for him. And that kind of just like ended his...
Sorry, let me ask you, it wouldn't let him back into the United States? Is that what that means?
Yes. Because he was like never actually an American citizen. So he's also, I guess, just like a very kind of standoffish, very, he was very hard to get a hold of. So any like this kind of threw a wrench and everything, because he just was not the kind of person that was going to easily handle something like this. So yeah, I mean, it was like something that he was a person that meant a lot to a lot of people, and it was just kind of shocking and it's just a letdown how everything happened, because it does seem like he was just kind of hindered by that and never kind of fully recovered from that.
Bobby, was he like central to your musical life or your school life?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of my musical tastes are sort of linked with Billy's. We always introduce each other to music. And so a lot of the things that we like, both of us like. And Billy definitely did get me into Doom really early. Like, I think I was in high school when he started listening to, maybe a little bit later than that, but it was a long time ago. It was like 2003 or 4.
Wow.
And that was like, that was kind of a very active part of his career. Just a really interesting, very thoughtful guy, very clearly. It's a really interesting artist.
Well, I didn't know anything about him. I mean, nothing at all about him. I still haven't listened to any of his music, but I'm gonna dip my toe in it. I mean, I'm not sure a 63-year-old is going to get anything out of it, but maybe. I mean, obviously, your tribute touched a nerve to a lot of people. Billy, do you want to just like? I know this is weird because it's audio and your tribute is a piece of artwork, but can you explain what it looks like and what it represents?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, first plug your Twitter feed.
Okay. Thank you. It's Gobo 3D on Twitter. It's GOBO 3D. But he always wore like a metal mask, and so the artwork is a metal mask in a field with flowers growing around it, and King Ghidorah, which is like a Godzilla kind of monster that he wrapped under that name and that kind of character. And that's kind of like flying off in the distance. But yeah, I mean, it was just like, I wanted to do something for it. And that kind of, was what I thought of.
Well, it's very cool looking. I saw a bunch of people were wondering if they can get a print. Are you gonna try to make that available?
I think so. I don't know. I mean, I feel a little bit weird about it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I don't know.
No. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to listen to MF Doom. Anybody else who's listening who doesn't know who the heck MF Doom is, and dial it up.
Yeah. I mean, it was just. Just one last thing. I mean,
yeah, sure.
Just like, he was a very kind of like music lovers and I guess rap lovers really, really appreciated him. It's like a lot of artists really liked him. It's just like a very I don't know, he really liked the sport of it. And yeah, I just have a lot of respect for him. It's just very influential. But yeah.
Well, he's gone too soon. It sounds like he was young, right? 40, 49?
49, yeah.
49, yeah.
Jeez, that seems early, doesn't it? Well, it does to me,
That
for sure.
certainly does.
All right. I'm going to focus our attention on this election that won't end. I know we've talked a lot about it, but there's just so much it just is kind of entertaining and bizarre. And are you guys okay with that? And you can throw up a flare if you get sick of it.
Sure.
Okay. I have my spidey sense tells me, I mean, there's going to be this acceleration of craziness until something happens. And I assume that will be on the 20th when he's not let back in the door if he goes to do a rally or something like that. But Trump, I'm talking about. But anyways, it's entertaining, I guess. All right. So here we go. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You guys remember Melissa Carone, right?
Of course.
You remember her, right?
Of course.
She's back in the news. I don't know if you read this, but Dominion Voting Systems, that's one of this whole Smartmatic, started going after people legally. I think they were going after the news media, Newsmax and OAN and other right-wing kind of Fox, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so Dominion Voting Systems took a page from Smartmatic and they've got their lawyers working. And so here's a quote. Dominion, which supplied hardware and software for voting machines across the country, didn't pull any punches in calling out Carone for engaging in a smear campaign against the company, saying her claims about fraud were outlandish and baseless and calling for her to cease and desist. Here's what Melissa said when they said, "Don't do that." Here's what she said.
I don't know who they think they are. Sorry, excuse my language, but they are not telling me what to do.
Yeah, they're not. They're telling you not to do something. Anyway, so these guys they got up in her business. So there's a news reporter reading part of the cease and desist letter from Dominion to Carone. Listen to this, right? She was an IT person. That's what she said. She was a contractor there to help with the IT systems. Here's what the Dominion lawyers wrote to Carone.
We write to you now because you have positioned yourself as a prominent leader of the ongoing misinformation campaign by pretending to have some sort of insider's knowledge regarding Dominion's business activities.
Check this out.
When in reality, you were hired through a staffing agency for one day to clean glass on machines and complete other menial tasks.
Class on machines and other menial tasks. Anyways, that's our buddy.
Yeah, bro.
Melissa Carone. You guys, where are you sitting right now? What town? What state?
We're in Baldwin, Missouri.
Okay. Do you know who your senators are?
Yeah.
Do you know of this Josh Hawley guy?
Of course.
So he's said that he is going to partner up with the House. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, he's going to dispute the electoral college vote, right?
Yeah. So
that's a kind of symbolic move.
Yeah, I guess the way this works is if there's somebody in the House and somebody in the Senate, and they both say, we got an issue, then everything stops and they go and debate this, whatever the issue is, for 2 hours, and then they come back. And so they need a senator who is going to, play ball with there's plenty of Republicans in the House of Representatives. And he said he's going to go ahead and participate in that. So, and the experts say this isn't going to really change anything. It's just going to make January 6th a lot longer and maybe more interesting. I don't know. Any thoughts about that?
It's a publicity stunt. I mean,
yeah.
Hawley has long been seen as a striver guy. Like he really wants to. I think he really wants to be either a leader or he wants to run for president at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a way to not do anything while still showing your allegiance to Trump voters.
No, he wants to be a player. He wants to be relevant.
And he's also one of the guys who co-sponsored with Bernie Sanders the $2,000 thing because that was another Trump thing. And
So
I think
weird,
he probably correctly guessed that it wouldn't actually go through.
So it wouldn't really cost him anything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really weird. What do you think was going on with that? So Trump says he like stalls, says he's not going to sign the stimulus part of the package, right? There was a couple of pieces of legislation. I guess there was the National Defense Authorization Act, that was part of it. And then there was the stimulus, the COVID stimulus stuff. And he vetoed the National Defense Authorization Act, installed, and finally signed it, and then immediately said, this sucks. It needs to be $2,000. And then all of a sudden the Republicans are saying no. The Democrats are saying, yeah, let's do it. What was the whole, like, did Trump have something in mind?
I mean, I think he just likes the giving people money directly thing. Like, I just think that works well for him.
Well, why didn't he do that from the beginning then? I mean, why didn't Lynch demand that?
I think part of it is that I think he's had an evolving sort of view of where the actual Republicans are in relation to him. Like, I think he's trying to plan this stuff, and he's probably being sort of manipulated at this point because it's just running out the clock on him. The Republicans don't really want him to, obviously they don't want to pay $2,000 stimulus checks.
Yeah.
But it's also true that, like, you see this whole dance around this because I wanted to mention this on the show. Our new vice president, Kamala Harris, talking about how we need to have this vote on this stuff, and then it instantly voted it down, along with many of our other nice Democratic senators.
Wait, what happened?
The $2,000 checks were voted on. Kamala Harris voted against them, along with a large chunk of Democrats, including Dick Durbin.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
3 days ago.
Hang on a second. I didn't think they vote. Oh, did they vote? This is the package, though. This included the $2,000 and the Section 230 stuff and the election fraud, voting fraud commission, right?
I would assume so. I think.
Yeah, I don't think the senators voted up or down on just the $2,000 thing. I mean,
right, of course, because there's no way for you to get that because no one will let you have a vote on just the $2,000 checks.
Yeah, that was McConnell's calculation. And you think that she should have voted, the Democrats should have voted up on this, regardless of the Section 230 stuff and the voter fraud commission. I'm not saying they shouldn't.
Well, I think that either they should have done that or they should have actually worked to come up with a proposal that works for that, for $2,000 things, which is not what any of them have been talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what you see. Every time there's actually a chance to do anything, we don't want that. Every time it's a lock that we can't do anything, we have to have this conversation about the $2,000 checks.
Yeah. And do you think that this is an issue that is this because the Democrats are wanting to do stuff and the Republicans basically want the government to do less stuff? So it's easier to, trip up the Democrats by throwing in stuff they don't like? Or do you think
the Democrats and the Republicans want the same thing?
Okay. And what is that?
To not spend money, basically the least amount possible while not completely destroying the economy. And they probably have a much different understanding of that than we do.
I would put it a different way, but maybe they're the same things. I would say they just don't want to change things too much. But I guess maybe that is the same thing.
I don't even think that's necessarily true, though, because, I mean, you see them all working to continually keep consolidating more and more into the hands of, the large corporations and things like that. Not even just large corporations, but just upward. Like they're facilitating that. It's not like they just don't care what happens.
Yeah, no. I think I'm agreeing with you. When I said that they want to maintain the status quo. What I mean is that they want to maintain the stabilization of power. Basically, they want to continue to have access to money, and they definitely don't want people like Bernie getting traction because he's going to screw things up for them, I think. I mean, look, I'm starting to sound like you guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all a money game.
I think what I'm hearing you say, and I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm like noodling on it. So, I'll be listening to this podcast in a week or two and I'm working out. And then it's like, oh, I understand. Now I say, oh, that makes sense. I think you're saying that there are some, clearly beneficial things like helping people out during a pandemic who are struggling financially through no fault of their own, right? So this is 2,000 instead of 600, for example. They have a chance to do it. It gets tied up by McConnell with the stuff that he thinks is going to blow it up for them, and they say, okay, well, we're not going to vote for it, and they should instead say, we'll either work on it, we'll try to come up with something that's not so nasty for us, or they should just take it and say, well, we'll take this and we'll fight the rest another day. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, the thing is, I don't think it's an ideal situation to have them accept like the bill as it is or anything, but I didn't really see much in the way of creativity with the sort of the whole process before that. It was like, well, we don't want those $2,000 checks, so it's not going to happen. Like the only person asking for it was Trump. But that's what I mean. I think it's all of their calculations are based on the fact in their minds that there's an unsurmountable group of people whose job it is to just block them from doing anything.
Yeah.
And when you think like that, like what do?
That's
you
what
just
happens.
Don't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what happens. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't try to come up with something. You don't actually do a real negotiation where you try to figure out, okay, what's really, really important to you guys and what's really, really important to us guys. And then, let's figure out how we can find something that works. I mean, they could have more strictly means tested the $2,000, for example. They could have brought the cost of it way down and targeted it to people that needed it. Because not everybody does need it. I mean, some people need it a lot, and really, really need it, and other people don't really need it. So you could bring the ticket, the cost of it, way, way down. And in exchange for that, you could, try to loosen up some of the other stuff.
There is a measure of that in the bill that was already passed.
But they could have done more than that.
Well, of course. I guess I think that
I'm agreeing with you. There's room for fussing around and dancing and coming up with something that's better. I don't know what these people do.
Well, that's the thing. You don't see how, like, by being put in this position every time, the Democrat is always going to come across as, they're trying to keep money from getting to you. Like, by the Republicans being like, all right, well, fine, but you guys got to figure out everything else. Now, the Democrats, I mean, and they are happy to do it, are the people that are just taking money away from those people that are saying, well, you don't really deserve, you don't really need it.
Okay.
There's a simplicity to the universalist stuff that I think makes it attractive. That's I think a big part.
I don't even know what that means. What do you mean by that?
Just like when you talk about just like, okay, everybody gets a check.
Oh, I see what you mean by
that's
universalist.
Extremely, you don't have to, like, if you say, okay, everybody's going to get a check, but here's the, like, list of things that sort of affect whether or not you get a check, and here's the break points for how much you get, and like that kind of stuff.
I mean, and there's just like it's just there's certain situations that fall through the cracks. Like certain people make enough money to break past a certain limit, but they have X amount of kids or whatever, and so they're spending more on and that might not be factored into whatever scale or threshold, is worked into this. And it's also, like universal is a pretty easy thing to understand, and it's harder to kind of, mess around with the levers and change things up a little bit than it would be where you have these thresholds or whatever, where you could kind of move them around a little bit, or you're kind of, I don't know, it's just a little bit more obscured. And if it's universal, it's very clear cut and no one's being left out. And, it's just it's more, I think, the frustration of the amount of money that is spent and given other places. And so it's kind of a frustration that we could do this if it was a priority for us, but we don't.
Sure.
Not that it's, not that it would be incredibly costly to do all this, because it is just like, there is waste. There are going to be people who can afford this without the help. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think your argument of having government programs that cover everybody is, I think it's easier to argue for that when you're talking about an ongoing program like Medicare.
Yes.
Or Social Security. I think the downside in this case, because this isn't an ongoing program, I think the downside in this case is people need the money pronto. And the more you try to target it, the more difficult it is to get people, to make sure that people are actually supposed to get the checks and get them. There are a lot of people, like, Gina and I got checks. We don't need it. Our income's low because we don't spend very much, but we don't really need the money,
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys are probably right. You don't really have time to fuss around with it. And you don't want to create any extra hoops for the people who actually need the money. And, so, there you go. I guess I hold the thought about the Democrats and how awful they are at doing their job, because we're going to descend now. We've been circling around the craziness with Melissa Carone and Josh Hawley. And now we're going to get into the Sidney Powell, Louis Gohmert, Lin Wood world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So Sidney Powell is what I'm really getting. Some of this is about what's going to happen in Georgia and what the hell they're, what they're thinking. I don't know. Anyway, Sidney Powell argues that Georgia Senate races may be rigged in favor of the Republicans because that would prove that the November 3rd election wasn't rigged. It's like the old, you get it? It's like the double bluff. Here we go. She's on Rush Limbaugh's show. She's being interviewed by Todd Herman, who's sitting in for Rush. Okay, here we go. Let's check this out. This is about a minute.
I think that's a very compelling elevator speech. And I got a tough question for you, Sidney. I've asked my audience on Twitter a lot of questions for you. One of them is this. Yes or no, Sidney, do you want people to vote Republican in the Georgia race?
I want Georgia well, my concern is that it's not going to matter how the people vote in the Georgia race. It obviously didn't matter how they voted nationwide, did it?
It didn't, but I want people to vote in the Georgia race.
Were disenfranchised.
Yeah, I want people to vote in the Georgia race in incredible numbers, and I want all eyes on this because we cannot hand the Senate to these people, Sidney. We cannot do that. And I understand the case you just made is very compelling to me. I'm just hoping that we get people to rush in, all eyes on this, because all eyes will be on Georgia, and get that turnout. You don't join me in that?
Well, yes. I mean, in the situation we're in now, I would suggest that everybody in Georgia turn out on Election Day and do it again. Vote for the Republican candidates in mass numbers and see what happens. And it might be that they've even rigged the system so that the two Republicans win so they can say, oh, see, there's no problem here.
All right. I'm firmly in agreement with you.
Okay, so that's her deal. I don't know why. I don't know.
That's great.
Right, so that's
this was all so that we could take control. Now
right,
we need a little bit of public trust. So
yep. Yeah. Bada bing, bada. Okay, so here's you guys know Louis Gohmert. He's a representative in Texas, and he filed a lawsuit against Pence, seeking to force Pence to decide which slates of electors are valid. Okay, so it was this really kind of weird arguments that said basically the VP can decide whether the state's, voting was legit or not. And if it wasn't legit, he can just say, nope, we're not going to accept a slate of electors from Georgia, let's say. Okay. And then the DOJ lawyers, the Department of Justice lawyers, argued on behalf of Pence, basically saying, hey, leave us out of this. We don't really want, we really don't want to do this. Yeah. Okay. So, so Gohmert it's Gohmert and a bunch of electors from Arizona said that only Pence could decide which votes count. All right. And so he goes on. The suit was dismissed by a Trump-appointed federal judge yesterday. So that's the kind of the bottom line. Then he goes on Newsmax to give his reaction. Okay, here we go. He's been interviewed by somebody named Emerald.
First, we have some breaking news that we need to get to. A last-minute call on a lawsuit against Vice President Mike Pence. A federal judge has tossed out a lawsuit against the vice president to overturn the election results. The Department of Justice issued the request on Pence's behalf last night to a federal judge. The suit was filed by Republican Congressman Louis Gohmert of Texas and other GOP lawmakers this week. Congressman Gohmert is joining us now. Congressman, it's great to see you.
Great to see you, Emerald. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And, it's good to hear from you right after this is happening. Now, the judge said that you lacked standing to sue. What's your reaction to this?
Well, my reaction is that your monologue was perfectly on point. This is an example of when the institutions that our Constitution created to resolve disputes so that you didn't have to have riots and violence in the street, it's when they go wrong.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's saying basically that the courts made an error in this ruling, and in so doing, they're going to potentially incite violence in the streets. He goes on. He goes on for a really long time, and he wraps back around at the very end.
Basically, in effect, the ruling would be that you got to go to the streets and be as violent as Antifa and BLM.
Okay, so Gohmert is saying violence in the streets. All right. Okay. Trump. Can I keep going?
Yeah.
There's a lot of crazy here. Okay, so Trump went to Twitter last night and had a mini meltdown like he does, I guess. He's arguing that the upcoming runoff elections in Georgia are illegal and invalid. Now, this is like the election, the last set of, the actual day, election day. I mean, the Democrats people have been voting early. A lot of Democrats have been voting early in Georgia. It's Tuesday. He's going Monday to do a rally for Loeffler and Perdue, the two Republicans that are in this runoff election. It's all very close. Okay, so he gets on Twitter and says that the elections are illegal and invalid. Here's what he says: before even discussing the massive corruption which took place in the 2020 election, which gives us far more votes than is necessary to win all the swing states, only need 3. It must be noted that the state legislatures were not in any way responsible for the massive changes to the voting process, rules, and regulations, many made hastily before the election, and therefore the whole state election is not legal or constitutional. Additionally, the Georgia consent decree is unconstitutional, and the state 2020 presidential election is therefore both illegal and invalid, and that would include the 2 current senatorial runoff elections. In Wisconsin, voters not asking for applications invalidates the election. I don't even know what he's talking about there. All of this without even discussing the millions of fraudulent votes that were cast or altered. Okay, and then the New York Times says, here's what he means by the dissent decree. So Mr. Trump was almost certainly referring to a March consent decree hammered out between the Democratic Party and the Republican state officials that help establish standards for judging the validity of signatures on absentee ballots in the state. Trump's allies have unsuccessfully argued in failed lawsuits that the consent decree was illegal because the U.S. Constitution confers power to regulate congressional elections to the state legislatures, but the National Constitution Center, among others, notes that the Supreme Court rulings allow legislators to delegate their authority to other state officials. Okay, and now these people can't figure out what the heck is going to happen on Tuesday, right? Because now they're thinking like maybe Trump's telling people not to go vote because it's like, it's all mucked up. So what's the idea here? I mean, what's he trying to do?
I don't
Does he not care?
It's so hard to tell anymore, man.
Yeah, I mean, I do think
so.
it's probably more important to him to cement the fact that, like, he is.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care if he loses the Senate, if the Republicans lose the Senate. I mean, not enough.
He cares, but I don't think he cares more than he cares whether people think that this stuff is real or not.
Right. He's acting like there's been a complete failure of the electoral system, and if that means increasing the chance that the Republicans lose the Senate, then so be it.
Yeah, I would say that's probably right.
Do you think his chances are better if the Senate goes Democratic?
His chances.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Trump's chances in 2024, or whoever.
Got you.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's going to matter by then, because I doubt we're going to have a Democratic Congress in 2024.
Right. In 2022, you think there's going to be a swing back?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a swing for. Like, I don't think they're going to win both these runoffs. Personally, it could be now that they're, all the Republicans are like, threatening to like throw a tantrum and not vote.
Yeah, no, I was kind of in the world in which Trump has, Trump does this and it tips the election to the Democrat. I'm trying to think through. Does Trump see this stuff and say, well, look, I'm just not going to let this stand. I can't stand it. But is his brilliance that he has this sort of, these antennae that go up, and he's like basically saying, this could all work quite well, actually. Like if the Senate goes Democratic, it's more likely in 2022 that there's going to be a appetite for more Republicans, and then by then I'll have figured out who the Republicans are that are real loyalists and peel them away from these Republicans that didn't stand up for me. I mean, does he have that kind of savant kind of thing going?
I mean, I do feel like he's got a sense for that. I really don't know. I don't know if I can see him gearing up and doing this all again. I mean, like, it might have been. Yeah. I feel like going into a second term as the incumbent is much more easy of a thing to just kind of let happen than like, okay, I'm going to campaign again for president, even though that he seemed to really enjoy that. It's like, it must take everything out of you. I mean, like, it seems like exhausting, and it's just like a lot of work. And, I don't know, man, like, it just seems like he didn't even, I don't know, like, everybody says this, but there was an error about it, like, where it seemed almost like he got himself into too much work. Like, he seemed like he didn't want to really be president or whatever near kind of the end of it. And It's like, if that is even partially true, that makes me feel like he's just gonna relax and kind of do media stuff, maybe kind of fund his own operation, or I don't know, try to be like kind of, I don't know, central kind of authority role on like OAN or something like that. But yeah,
I don't know. He doesn't like losing. I mean, he really doesn't like losing.
That's very true. But like, I mean, right? He must want to return to his old life. Maybe the 4 years would be enough for him. I don't know.
I don't know either. Who knows? I mean, this is all mysterious. We're like living in some kind of weird world.
It's very weird, man.
Okay.
Especially seeing like everything now, like his moves now. It's just like bizarre.
Yeah. I think I keep telling Gina when we go on our walks, she doesn't really want to talk about this anymore, and I don't blame her. It's probably better for your mental health to not talk about it too much. But I keep saying, I think it's just there's going to be a crescendo. I mean, it seems like this is accelerating. And we're about to dip into the wild world of Lin Wood, if you're ready. I don't know. Bobby, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
I just don't have too much to say about that.
Well, we're speculating on Trump's mental state, and you already said,
yeah.
I don't think it does any good to try to figure that out. I mean, we'll see. I guess we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just getting nervous. Okay,
sure.
do you guys know Lin Wood?
Yeah.
Who is that again?
Okay, this is a guy who was a defamation lawyer, and he represented Richard Jewell, who was accused. It was way before your time. He's accused of a bombing in Atlanta.
Oh, that's right.
Around the Olympics, right? And it turned out Richard Jewell didn't do it. He was just a weird dude. I mean, just a really weird dude. And then he represented the parents of John Benet Ramsey, who was this little girl who was, who she was like, I don't know, made up like an adult. She was in these beauty pageants, and then she's like murdered. No one, and so he represented her parents, who were, it was all very weird. They all acted kind of strange, and no one really knows.
But it was a similar situation to Jewel, where there's a lot of the public perception of the guilt comes from weird responses to stuff, and then the media kind of picking stuff up and running with it.
Yeah, and that's right. I think that's fair, right? I mean, you never know who
totally.
We are weird people for sure. You never know exactly how you're going to act, and then you get into this frenzy of media stuff, and no one's going to want to tell the other side or just say these are odd people or whatever. I mean, they were clearly odd people, but
no one wants to be your friend in that situation, because what happens if it turns out that you did do something bad?
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
There's no way for them to know either.
Yeah, there's no way for them. Anyway, so that's the guy. And that's the guy. And he's been working some with Sidney Powell in defending Trump or trying to push forward these lawsuits. I say, this guy knows how to preach. I mean, he can give a talk. That's really pretty amazing. So he was at a Trump rally, I think it was December 2nd in Georgia, and he's getting people whipped up. So I'm just going to play a few of these clips. I find them entertaining but slightly disturbing. This is perfect.
You're here because we, the people, will not let them steal our vote. We will not let them steal our freedom. Every lie will be revealed. And on January the 20th of 2021, Donald J. Trump will be sworn in as President of the United States of America.
Okay. I mean, so he's preaching that, like, these people want to hear that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a good thing to preach, is something that people want to hear.
Yeah.
Now, this is good. He's gonna say that we need to fight like a Flynn, and by he means Michael Flynn. Okay. Now, I want you to imagine he's wearing a hat that says "Fight like a Flynn," and he's got his "Make America Great" or "Keep America Great," whatever it is now, red hat on the podium. Okay, and you'll hear him make a switch.
We're gonna fight like a Flynn. Fight like a Flynn.
Here it is.
And when we do, and we will, we'll fight like a Flynn.
Switch hats.
And we're going to make America great again.
You go crazy. The guy's got two hats. He's like a magician. All right. Now here's where this is where it starts to get a little weird. Now listen to this.
It's 1776 in America again.
That's what they want to go back to.
And you're not going to take our freedom. We're going to fight for our liberty. We're going to send that message from Wills Park today, and we're going to send it all the way over to Beijing, China. We're not going to let you take our country over. Never going to happen on our watch. This is America. You picked a fight with the wrong people.
No. I don't know what China was like in 1776, but I don't think they were going after the U.S. Okay, so it's China. He said 1776. China's here. Listen, this is another message from 1776.
We're going to send that message to George Soros. Get out of our our country, George Soros.
Soros. I really don't like George Soros.
He is playing the hits, man.
Yeah, right. No, hang on.
George Soros even seems a little bit like, I don't know, out of vogue.
Yeah. Yeah, but, he's, whatever. He's Jewish, he's rich, he's liberal.
Right. That's yeah. At least 2 out of 3 of those are always bad.
Good point. You're right. Yeah. There's Adelson, right? He's Jewish, he's rich, and he's conservative.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. And you can really, the rich or Jewish, those could really go either one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here you go. Here's his now. Here's Lin Wood. We're just only so far he's just kind of riling people up. So here's his suggestion about where to get your information.
Now everybody's been reading the media. Stop. It's a lie.
Yep. Don't read the media.
Stick with OAN and Newsmax. They tell you the truth. Read the Epoch Times. They tell you the truth.
Epoch.
This is the battle between good and evil.
Okay, there we go. The Epoch Times. I think it's Epoch, isn't it? I don't know.
Well, no. I mean, that's how you fancy type say, I guess.
I love Bobby because he always gives the benefit of the doubt. Okay, come on. The guy's like.
I just actually don't know. I mean, there's a lot of words that you can say a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I mean, there was this one, and you're fair, man. That's the thing here.
I call you done.
I call you done.
Don't go.
Don't go. Bobby's like, I think he was going to say he's done and gone, and
that is right. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah,
I stand by that, Bobby, on that one.
Okay, so there you go with the Epoch Times or whatever it is. What did he say? Epoch. Epic?
Yeah.
No, it's not epic. How do you say that word?
Epic. He says epic.
Epic.
How do you say that word? EPOCH.
I mean, I think epoch is right,
Epoch.
But I think epic might also be okay. That's why I said that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
It's okay in my book. That's
yeah.
This is when we start getting weird. Okay, so
I'm not going to make fun of that guy for that. Okay, that's all.
Yeah. Okay. Here's where this is where it makes me nervous because he's got this light and dark and all these biblical references, which I think is potentially problematic. So here we go.
This is the battle between truth and lies. This election was a fraud on America. Donald Trump won a massive landslide victory unparalleled in the history of this country. And he's going to stay in the White House because we the people voted for him and we the people run this country. This country belongs to you and you and you and you. It belongs to the people.
I mean, I don't know if you want to do this, but if you look it up on this guy he can preach. I mean, he's just walking back and forth on the stage with a handheld mic. I mean, he just is like, spit flying out of his mouth and people going crazy. Okay, anyway, so that's the battle between good and evil. Stop reading the media. Here we go. Listen to another biblical reference, but this is a weird one.
The people are the rock, and we're going to slay Goliath, the communists, the liberals, the phonies. Joe Biden will never set foot in the Oval Office of this country. It will not happen on our watch. Never going to happen.
Yeah, Joe Biden in the Oval Office.
Right.
That's a line too far.
Yeah, right. And what do you say? I don't know what this is the weird part. Listen to what he says about who the people are. Right. So there's David and Goliath. You guys know the story, right?
Of course.
Yes.
All right. So there's this giant named Goliath, and there's only this shepherd named David, and David's got to go fight Goliath, and all he's got is a slingshot, basically. And he picks up a rock off the ground. Listen to who the rock is.
The people are the rock, and we're going to slay Goliath, the communists, the liberals, the phonies. Joe Biden will never set foot in the Oval Office of this country. It will not happen on our watch.
Okay, there you go. So it's not that the people are David. The people are The Rock.
Yeah.
He's David, I guess. Okay, listen, here's some more.
All the power, not some of the power, all of the power.
There's a lot of Old Testament here.
Belongs to the people. This is our country. We tell government what they can and cannot do. They do not control the people. This is our country. We're going to take it back. We're circling the walls of Jericho. People are praying in this country. We're circling the walls of Jericho. And God Almighty's going to tear the walls down, and we're going to take America back again. You watch it happen. You watch it happen.
That's scary to me. That's a little weird.
Has this guy shown up in Trump world before? Because he was crushing.
I think he is. I mean, if you watch him, he can work this crowd, and he has no problem talking. I mean, he can cry. He talks about his mother. It's something. Anyway, let me keep going. He says that he wants to form a new party. Maybe it's time to form a new party, not Democrats, not Republicans, but patriots. He sees patriots everywhere. So I'm kind of wondering now, like, what the hell is going to happen? Because Bobby, you're clearly fed up with the Democrats, and I think he and Trump are both sort of splitting the Republicans now for sure, right? They're going to see who's going to play ball in this alternate world or reality or something. Anyways, so on Twitter, Lin Wood goes on and he calls for Georgia Republicans to just not even vote in the state runoff election. But here's the part that I found fascinating. He says it's going to break the algorithm. So he's buddies with Sidney Powell, and Sidney Powell said that you guys remember she said that he would break that there were so many votes for Trump that it broke the algorithm. Right? You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Now you break the algorithm, and that's when...
Or a thumb drive stuck in it or whatever.
The thumb drives came in, and they backed up they came into the back doors and dumped the whatever. Anyway, but here's a much more like laid out argument. Here's the argument that he makes about how this is going to work if the Republicans don't vote. So his argument is the algorithm works in precincts that are already lean Democratic. Okay? So I thought that was kind of interesting. So in these precincts, so around Atlanta, for example, they flip Republican vote. The algorithm allegedly flips Republican votes to Democratic votes. And what he says is if there aren't any Republicans left to flip, something very interesting happens. He says the algorithm, this is a quote, the algorithm was never designed for unheard of levels of GOP non-participation. The algorithm will steal votes, you know where this is going, steal votes for the GOP, but there will be so few in heavily Democratic precincts that GOP vote totals will go negative.
Wow.
Equally outlandish results will appear in other districts. The fraud will be so obvious that the Supreme Court can then invalidate the presidential election.
This is great.
Real conservative senators can then be appointed. Go ahead.
So their plan is they're going to have the Supreme Court's going to invalidate a previous election because of some stuff that you prove in a separate election.
Correct. They're going to show that there's an algorithm that's flipping things because you're going to end up with negative votes.
Because, you got so many people to abstain from voting.
Right. There's the algorithm just blindly flips votes from Republican to Democrat in the precincts where they already lean heavily Democrat. Now, I don't know why that didn't happen with the rest of the ticket, but so his argument is by doing this, then the votes will go negative, and the Supreme Court will like blink, blink, blink. Oh my gosh, we were wrong. This really did happen. So the issue is this has to be an algorithm that was pretty stupid, right?
I was gonna say, I love that the idea is the algorithm is just the final step is subtraction.
That's the most convincing claim that they've made so far, though.
I agree with that, Bob. I agree with that. I think you're right. Okay, so his plan, then it goes like this. Real conservatives, and SCOTUS can then invalidate the presidential election. Real conservative senators can then be appointed after Kemp, Perdue, and Loeffler's arrests.
Whoa.
Okay.
Perdue and I don't know why Perdue and Loeffler. I mean, I don't know what they did, but
isn't Perdue the Secretary of State, right? That's Perdue.
No, Perdue is one of the two senators.
Okay.
In the runoff. I mean, Raffensperger is the I think, or is Raffensperger? He's the lieutenant governor, maybe. Oh, maybe we got that wrong. No, he's.
And Kemp is the governor. Is that right?
Brian Kemp is the governor.
Okay.
And Perdue and Loeffler are the two Republicans in the runoff election. I don't know why they'd be arrested, but here I'll give you some hints. So we're still with Lin Wood, right? The guy who can really crush it, like you said.
Yeah.
From the stage. This is a tweet from yesterday. This is a little long, but here it goes. For 2 months, we've focused on accusing the Democrats of attempting to steal the 2020 election for Biden. And by the way, it's 2020. He's done it like it's vision, like your 2020 vision. We focused on the presidential election. We focused on the obvious. Over time, we have learned the Democrats were joined by CCP and other foreign countries. I think that's China. I think that's Beijing, China, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We have learned that the globalists like George Soros and the elitists like Bill Gates were involved. CIA too, no surprise, military-industrial complex. It all seems so clear we overlooked one of the main participants in the theft of the election, all caps, the Republicans. These groups aspire to the goals of communism, a ruling elite and an oppressed class of people who exist to serve those in power. Now check this out. When arrests for treason begin, put Chief Justice John Roberts, VP Mike Pence, and Mitch McConnell at the top of the list. Time to clean house in 2021. Let the military lock them all up. Again, all caps. The crime is treason. They are traitors. It must be done if our country is to survive and once again serve as a bright beacon of light that provides hope of freedom to the world.
Man.
And then this last paragraph. If Pence is arrested, Secretary of State Pompeo will save the election. Pence will be in jail awaiting trial for treason. He will face execution by firing squad. He is a coward and will sing like a bird and confess all.
This is literally Russiagate.
What does that mean? What do you?
This is like, exactly the same
fantasy.
thing that the Republicans that the Democrats were doing with the Russia stuff. Exactly the same thing. There are people on Twitter claiming that people were going to be secretly,
see.
put in jail or executed.
And the Q stuff. It's like all the, this kind of fantasy
Do you think, so the people, was anybody who said that meeting with the president 2 weeks before doing this? That's where he was.
Oh, you mean about the Russia stuff?
Yeah, I'm just saying, this guy has access. Lin Wood has access to the president. I mean, he was in the Oval Office.
We did a bunch of investigations and impeachment stuff, sort of adjacent to the Russia stuff. That wouldn't have happened if not for the Russia thing. I think the difference is that the Democrats didn't have the White House at the time, and they wouldn't have had to do that if they had the White House. All of this is a way to make you not realize that everyone that is involved with these decisions is totally okay with you not having any power.
I'm not following you, man. I just don't see how this is. Maybe I need to go back and read tweets of the lawyers that were,
I think a lot of people think it's real. I'm just meaning that these sort of big fantasy stuff in your head, is a result of you not having any sort of actual. You can't express your will in any way that feels real to you. That's what I think is causing all of the the Russiagate stuff, and how much basically how high the hysteria got during the Russiagate stuff.
I get that. I'm asking you whether the hysteria got that high and was stated publicly among people who had such access to power. That's what I'm asking. I mean, where's the wacky person who Pelosi was, meeting with to try to figure out what to do. I mean, that's what the meeting was about. The meeting was about what can be done about the election. I mean, it was specifically about this stuff. 2 weeks before, or a week and a half before this.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I should go back and look at what was going on. I get what you're saying. I mean, I just feel like we're kind of screwed. I mean, today I was wondering. Well, I'm wondering whether it doesn't really matter what's real. Functionally, it doesn't really matter what's real. What matters is how many people you can convince that something's real.
Man, I came to this conclusion like 2.5 years ago. Maybe.
Well, thank you.
Well, no, I just remember, like, it's funny that you say that because I remember talking to Bobby, and I was like, something's like really, like, clearly revealed itself to me, where it's like the perception of reality is like as good as reality. And it just, once you realize that people who are good at convincing people of things, like, you understand how much power they have.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, religion is kind of like that.
Being shoved in your face, like, super hard right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that you say it that way, I mean, if you turn around and think about things that are positive, there's like religion to me doesn't have to be literally true to be valuable. To do good.
Yeah.
Right. It's around because somehow it's done something. Probably it's done something good. I mean, it's stuck around for a long time. It shows up across all kinds of cultures, so it's probably useful in some way. And this is sort of like what was the South Park, the Book of Mormon. I mean, the whole thing is about. It doesn't really matter whether it's true or not. The question is whether people are better off because of it. And you don't have to throw out the whole thing because it's not true. You just throw out the part that isn't working very well. That's what I took away from the Book of Mormon, the movie, the play, the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
So I guess if I'm okay with that, I have a warm spot for religion because I think it's worthy of some respect because it keeps sticking around. There's something to it. I'm not saying that there's truth to it, but there's something functional about it.
Yeah, definitely.
So if I'm okay with that, I'm not sure why I would be. Why would I be surprised that people like you can cause things to happen just by repeating them over and over again and convincing people that it's not that strange or it's not that far fetched or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely compare this more to. I think it's more easily comparable to the QAnon stuff. In just that,
sure.
Like the kind of fantasy element is the most important, and like getting back to what Bobby is saying, kind of this lack of power or lack of avenue to kind of actualize what you want. Like these people really did want a massive kind of crackdown on pedophilia and all this they wanted a bunch of people arrested in Hollywood and political, politicians or whatever, just to, arrested on a massive scale. And they were saying like, oh yeah, these people are being black bagged and taken away, like in the silence of night in secret. And it's just, it's like what Bobby's saying is to think that oh yeah, Trump he's taking care of this massive undertaking, and he's doing it in secret because it's he's a super cool kind of awesome president who does this in a way where he's fighting the power or whatever, going around the system or something.
I'm not so sure that all recording these podcasts makes much of a difference, but I am glad that we're talking about this stuff because I don't think there's been a week where I haven't left with some kind of change of the way I see things. I don't think I'm less disturbed, but I realize I should be less surprised. I mean, I think you guys are more realistic than I maybe will ever be. So thanks for walking.
What makes you say that? It's hard to give up the... I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, okay. I was going to say...
No, let's all go at the same time.
I feel like for me, I used to be a lot of the things that I see in like older people that have lived through a long time of seeming sort of like normal political normalcy. And I think a large part of it is that you don't want to accept that things are that broken. Like, I didn't want to accept that, but it was much easier for me because I had, maybe 10, like 11, 12 years, maybe tops of fairly normal pre-2000 life.
And you were pretty young.
Sorry, what was that?
You were pretty young. So it's not like you're necessarily paying that much attention to politics. I didn't pay that much attention to politics.
But I think the thing is that normalcy comes to include a bunch of stuff that is like just very obviously not good for almost anyone. Like even on a large, when you zoom out really far type thing. Yeah. Like I think the growing up in the era of airport security, I think really shows you this like doesn't really work. No one likes it, but we have to do this because of a situation that's been forced on us. And it's like, I feel like that's sort of one example of, well, you just don't get to do something that other people do get to do. And the reason for that is because you live in this country. And then that just happens more and more and more ever since that.
Well.
Not saying there's not good stuff about America. I just mean that like that's an example of a lot of functioning countries don't have to deal with that kind of stuff because it doesn't even help the thing that you're trying to do.
Yeah. We got a lot to change. I don't know how to get there. But I'll tell you this. There is something I do know. In about 25 minutes, I have to go pick up pizza.
Okay.
That means my life is going to be better in about a half an hour. Would you guys like to play the game?
I would.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Oh, yeah. You know what that sound means? It's time for... That tastes a little gamey. It's the game show portion of our podcast. Okay, here we go. What happened here? Hey!
Again.
All right, there we go. All right. Let's see. I think I have to get my glasses. Let me get a score sheet. Who picks first this time? You guys remember?
Good question.
Yeah, you can go ahead, man.
Let's see. Bobby, Shelley. This is okay. Well, someday I'll get this all kind of electronic. Okay, let's put Bobby. You get first choice. Billy of categories. Categories are the usual categories. You don't call, you don't write. Something's missing. Her suit is too tight. Facial hair are superheroes. Innocent till proven guilty pleasures. Low to mid-brow pop culture. Science fiction could be science, could be not. Ocean's 11 edition, and frame that tune. Bob, what would you like?
Ooh. Well, Ocean's 11 edition piqued my interest. Let's do whatever that one is.
Okay, here we go. George Clooney plays veteran astronaut opposite Sandra Bullock in this sci-fi movie about a large cloud of debris from a Russian satellite that spells disaster for their space shuttle. What's the name of the movie? Bonus if you can guess the year. Within 1 year, either way. George Clooney.
Pretty sure it's Gravity.
What'd you say?
I said Gravity.
That's
year,
right.
Though.
Okay.
I want to say... I'm going to say 2014 for the year.
You got it. That's right.
Yeah,
it was
very nice.
It was 2013, but you got 1 year either way. So that's 2 for Bobby. He's taking a fast lead. Billy, here's your question. Matt Damon, that's the Ocean's 11 because they were both in. Okay. Matt Damon stars opposite Jodie Foster in this movie about a world in which most of mankind lives on Earth in poverty while the rich and connected live on a gigantic and luxurious space habitat in which nearly all diseases can be cured. What's the name of the movie and the year within 1 year.
All right. Well, I hope it's not the one with Tom Cruise, but Elysium.
Yep, you got it.
And
year?
I want to say like 2012.
Well, but you guys are moving too quickly. Okay, 2013. Okay, that's 2 apiece. Billy.
Okay, very nice.
Category, tied up. You don't call, you don't write. Something's missing. Her suit is too tight. Facial hair. Superheroes, innocent until proven guilty. Pleasures, low to mid-brow pop culture. And frame that tune.
Innocent until proven guilty pleasures.
Innocent till proven guilty pleasures. No, here we go. We're going to go back a little bit because and I had this in the can for Christmas. Okay, match the favorite Christmas dessert to the state. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you each 3 states, and your job is to match each dessert to a state. Okay. So the desserts are always cheesecake, red velvet cake, and a chocolate Santa.
Okay.
Okay, Bill, you got it, Billy?
Yeah.
Cheesecake, red velvet cake,
or
chocolate Santa. Your states are Michigan, New Jersey, and Georgia. So Michigan,
Jersey,
what do you want to?
Georgia.
Yeah, you get 1 point for everything you do right. There's one for each. I mean, it's these go 1 to 1. So if you just said cheesecake for all of them, you'd get 1 right.
Gotcha.
Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or should I pick a dessert?
I'm gonna say Georgia red velvet cake.
Okay, Georgia red velvet cake.
And let's see,
New Jersey and Michigan. And you got cheesecake and chocolate Santa.
Are there the 3 different ones for these?
No, you've used up red velvet cake.
It's 1 to 1.
No, but
so
is
1
is
for
there,
each. Yeah.
Okay, so there is 1 to 1. Okay.
There's one. It's 1 to 1. Each state has exactly 1.
Gotcha. Okay. You said New Jersey and
Michigan.
Okay.
And you have left cheesecake and chocolate Santa.
Yeah, and chocolate Santa. I'll say, man, I really can't. This is just a complete blind guess. Michigan cheesecake. New Jersey cheesecake.
No, you already got it. I gave it to you. Okay.
Okay.
You got 3 right. Okay. Michigan cheesecake.
Hit the, okay.
Sorry. Michigan cheesecake, New Jersey chocolate Santa, Georgia red velvet cake. Okay, here's your list, Bobby.
Wow. Okay.
Same thing.
Man.
Cheesecake, red velvet cake, chocolate Santa, and your states are Alabama, Illinois, and Ohio.
Crap. That's much harder, in my opinion. So it's Illinois, Ohio, and what was the last
Alabama.
one? Alabama.
Alabama in the South.
Oh, thank you. I guess I'll go similar. I'll say Alabama red velvet cake,
Okay.
Illinois cheesecake, Ohio chocolate Santa.
Sorry, you got 1 right. Alabama's red velvet cake, but Illinois and Ohio. Really, to be fair, you guys both should just get a point.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to give you.
Fair.
Billy, you get a bonus point for having thought of it correctly. Okay, Bobby, it's tied 3-3, or it could be 5-3 if Billy took the 2 points that I gave him. All right, I think it's your turn, Bobby. You don't call, you don't write. Something's missing. Her suit is too tight to frame that tune.
Let's do. You don't call, you don't write.
Okay, you don't call, you're right. Something's missing, and turns out it's the letter C for Christmas. Okay, this one's a little tricky. We'll do 2 of them each. Okay.
All right.
All right, we'll do 3 each. Okay, what's missing is a letter, sort of. Okay, this one involves 2 words. The first word starts with the letter C, and the second word is what you get when you take away that C from the first word. You got it?
Got you.
Bob, you got it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a hint. We'll do an example. I'm going to give you a hint for both the first word and the second word, and you have to determine both words. So the second word is going to be the first word minus the C on the front of it. Okay, so if I said your hints are inexpensive and pile, the solution would be cheap. That's for inexpensive. And then you take the C away and heap, which is a pile. Okay? So the first letter in all these things is the letter C. Okay, here's your first one, Bobby. The outer layer of a pie, an oxidized metal.
Okay. Crust rust.
Okay, that's good. Sorry, I got to run there you go. Okay. Violate rules and what you need when it's cold.
Cheat heat.
Okay, that's good. Well, this is kind of maybe I remember how you guys were when you were in grade school. Okay. The sensation of cold and smaller than a mountain.
Chill Hill.
Okay. This is a little bit like the Inky Pinky game, isn't it?
It is.
A little bit, yeah. I think it's easier than Inky Pinky.
I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you the fourth one. I mean, you each get 4 because you guys are going fast. Okay. Go upward and an appendage.
Okay. Climb limb.
Wow. Okay. That's 4 for 4. You ready, Billy?
Yeah.
Here are yours. Strong metal rope having a necessary skill.
Strong middle rope?
Metal. Rope-like.
Cable
rope-like
able.
thing. Brilliant. Confined in a box of sorts. Confined in a box of sorts and grew older.
Confined in a box of sorts?
Yeah, confined in a box-like thing.
Oh, cage age?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, you're getting the bells there. Okay, good. That's 2 for Billy. Stop or discontinue and freedom from hardship.
That's another good one.
This one's a little harder.
Stop or discontinue.
That's the first one. And freedom from hardship.
That one can also be a verb.
I'm going to give, it could be a verb. I'm going to give you a hint here. Blank and desist is the first word.
Oh, okay. Cease and ease.
There you go. Good job. Lacking dirt, lacking fat.
Oh, clean lean.
All right. Good job. Okay. You guys both got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 7 apiece. Okay. Billy, her suit is too tight. Frame her suit is too tight, or frame that tune.
Your suit is too tight.
Her suit is too tight. Facial hair of superheroes. Billy, Spider-Man is the superhero alias for whom?
Peter Parker.
What did you say?
Peter Parker.
Bravo. Okay, that's 1 point. Okay, what's bonus? What's his middle name?
Does he have one?
Peter Parker's middle name, yeah.
What is it, Benjamin?
Who said that?
Is it Benjamin?
Wow, good for you, man.
How could you possibly know that?
Because they love Uncle Ben, and they're like, oh, dude, wouldn't it be great if he were named after Uncle Ben, so he's even more important to his life?
Yeah, they probably didn't even think up names for his parents.
Okay.
That's probably not true, but...
Bobby, you ready? I don't even know. I didn't know this. I had to look at that. Okay. Okay. Iron Man. Who's his alias? You know what I'm talking about.
It's Tony Stark.
Okay. And what about his middle name?
That I don't know.
This is where we separate the, I don't know.
Is his father's name? Then?
I have no
That's
idea.
what I was thinking. I'm trying to think of his father's name.
Man, I'm not sure if I know. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it was like Fred, but I don't think that's going to be his middle name. I'll just say that. I don't know.
Okay. It was sorry, that's very rough there. Edward. Okay.
Edward.
So,
Okay.
yeah, Edward. So Bobby's going to pick up 1. Billy's going to pick up 2. It's 9-8. Billy's ahead. And what we have left is Frame That Tune. Are you ready? I think it's.
All right, let's do it.
Wait, who went first? Billy went first. Okay, Bobby, this is yours.
I went first this time.
Oh, you went first that time.
No.
No, because we did
I chose
Spider-Man.
Hirsute. It's too tight. Yeah.
Oh, well, wait.
Okay.
Okay, whatever.
I think you're going to.
We alternate choosing. We don't alternate going.
Yeah. Right. I think you're going to be happy with this, Bobby. Okay. Name the artist. These are people who are born on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. All right.
Oh wow.
Name the artist, the tune, and the year it was released. 1 point each. You within 3 years on the date it was released. Okay. Either way. You ready, Bob?
Sure. Okay, now the real question is, when did this come out? This is Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville.
That's good.
But what year? It sounds like it's old, but I
Yeah, man, I can.
Always stand away.
I want to say it's like 1990.
I can't wait till we're together. We can karaoke. Some people claim that there's a
When did it come out?
to blame. Oh, sorry. Were you asking me something? It came out. It came out in 1977. Sorry.
Oh my
Dude, that
god,
was what I was thinking. Late 70s.
So
I was thinking 80s, and then I was like, I remember it a lot from the 90s.
you got 1, 2. You got 10 points, Bobby, total. Nice job. Okay, Billy. You ready?
Yeah.
That's very polite applause, isn't it? Okay, here you go. Name the artist, the song, and the year within, what did I say, 5, 4, 2, what did I say, 5 years?
I think 3.
Yeah,
3, okay.
I think 3, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Man,
I know this
one.
I'll help you out, dude. It reminds me of Colton's house.
Listen to that bass line.
I don't even think that was a bass.
Nope, before. No? Maybe not.
Oh, man.
Here it comes.
God, dude.
You're getting so close.
Yeah, I mean, I just... Okay, so this was like it's Living La Vida Loca, what, Ricky Martin.
There you go.
And I'm going to say something like...
What year?
I'm going to say something like 98.
Yep. That would have been
That's
my guess.
incredible. It was 1999.
Okay, all right.
Wow.
I was trying to remember what the song's name was, and I was like, yeah, man.
That's incredible. Okay, well, Billy is the winner. He's got 12 points. Bobby's got 10. I haven't really kept track of the overall scores between the two of you guys. You guys must be pretty close at this point.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
that's probably
overall,
right.
yeah.
No, we'll just say it's about even. I don't know. You know, Ricky Martin, he was like what do you call it, stalker? Did you know that?
I remember that, actually.
No, I was just kidding. He's
No,
He stalked me. Gina and I saw him at two places about like 2 weeks apart.
I remember this story. Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember
it's like coming
when
out of-
we went to New York, we saw
That's
him
it.
in one. Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
I don't
We-
remember the other time.
No, we saw him at the. Oh gosh, we were in the meatpacking district, and it was like a Thai restaurant or something. You remember that, Billy?
Yeah. I mean, is that the one you're talking about in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like the waiter or something came up to us. It's like, oh, that's Ricky Martin over there. It's like, yeah, this is is like 2000. I don't know
You were
what
13,
year it was
right?
at that
12
time.
or something.
You're talking to a 13-year-old boy. It's like, what do you think?
Okay.
Would you be psyched about this?
Exactly. I think there was also somebody from the. Oh gosh, what was it? There was some like cable TV show. There was a whole table of people over there. Yeah. So at any rate, that's right. It was New York, and then I was like giving a talk in Washington D.C. and he came out of he came out of the Starbucks while we were there. I don't know. I don't know why I'm telling you that. At any rate, okay, there you go. That's it.
Hey, that was fun.
That's the Taste of the Game show portion of the podcast.
The cast pod.
All right, there you go. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
I know I spent a lot of time just like spewing stuff out there, but I needed to bounce it off of somebody because I'm just like, they spent the whole day like spun up and worried about it. I think I'm still concerned, but I don't really know why it should be any, so I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, things will be kind of weird until the 20th or, things will kind of be hopefully settled down by then. Or, it'll kind of reach a point where it's got
we'll see.
Do something.
We'll at least have we'll have some good content for another couple of weeks anyways.
Right.
All right. What do you guys have planned today?
I don't know. Yeah. It just started like snowing here last night for the first time.
Sweet.
In the season. Yeah. But that is all gone right now.
Okay. Well, stay warm, stay safe, and thanks again for taking time to talk to your old man. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having us. It's always really fun.
Oh, come on. I'm proud of you guys. Really.
Thank you, Dad.
All right. Bobby, I'm talking to you on Tuesday, 11:30 your time. Billy, I'm talking to you Monday.
All right. Sounds good.
What time do you want? 11 o'clock your time.
Yeah.
That work?
Yeah. That sounds good to me.
All right. You guys stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. Have some fun.
All right. Thank you.
I'll have a piece of pizza for you.
Awesome. Yeah. Enjoy that.
All right. I love you guys.
All right. Love you, Dad.
Love you too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Hey, yo, y'all can't stand right here. In his right hand was your man's worst nightmare. Loud enough to burst his right eardrum close range. The game is not only dangerous, but it's most strange. I sell rhymes like dimes. The one who mostly keep cash but brag about the broker time. Joker rhymes like the is you just happy to see me trick. Classical slapstick, rappers need chapstick. A lot of them sound like they're in a talent show, so I give them something to remember like the Alamo. Tally ho, a hot joker like Space Game. Came back from 5 years lane and stayed the same set. Electromagnetic field, it blocks all logic. Spock and G-Shock's a biological clock. When I hit it, slid it to the shit, I thought I killed a goose. Her power use was pure Brita water, filter juice. Keep a pen like a fiend, keep a pipe with him. Gentleman who lent a pen to a friend who write with him. Never seen this shit again, but he's still my dunny. The only thing that come between us is krill and money. I sell rhymes like dimes. The one who mostly keep cash and brag about the broker times. Better rhymes make for better songs. It matters not if you got a lot of what it takes just to get along. Surrender now, suffer serious setbacks. Got get back, connects, wet back, get stacks. Even if you got to get jet black, head to toe to get the dough. Battle for bottles of Mo or Dro. This fly flow take practice like Tybo with Billy Blanks. Oh, you're too kind, really thanks. To the gonna lost forever like, oh my darling Clementine. He hold his heart when he tellin' rhyme. When is his time? I hope his soul go to heaven. He nasty like the old time, old number 7. You still taste it when you chase it with the Coca-Cola. Make 'em wish they could erase it out the Motorola. I told her, no credit, fall back. If you want what they got, then go get it, it's all gag. Only in America could you find a way to earn a healthy buck and still keep your attitude on self-destruct. I sell rhymes like dimes. The one who mostly keep cash but tell about the broke times. Joker rhymes like the is you just happy to see me trick. Classical slapstick, rappers need chapstick.
A lot of them sound like they ain't a talent show, so I give them something to remember like the Alamo. Tally ho, high joker like the space game. Came back from 5 years lane, stayed the same, saying electromagnetic field will block all logic, Spock and G-Shock, a biological clock. When I hit it, slid it to the shit, I thought I killed a goose. Her power use was pure Brita water filter.